me, Daddy. Bite my.
The man making this request isn't some stranger in a dingy room. He's a decorated military general, the kind you see saluted on national television.
Pagdating doon sa kwarto, ito ang sasabihin niya, Alfred, saktan mo ako, Daddy. Daddy, saktan mo ako. Kagatin mo to. Oh, Daddy. General yun, ha?
And the young man he's paying? He clocks in at noon, books his first client by 2 p.m., his second by 4, his third by 6. At the end of his shift, he reports his earnings like an office worker. 3 clients, 500 pesos each. Then he catches a jeepney home.
So, opisina ako si Director ng pag-callboy. Nagkakaroon ako ng customer ng 12 to 2. Pagkatapos babalik ako sa isitan, 2 to 4 may customer ulit. Sasagot sa kanila, 555. Wow, anong 555? Sabi niya, tatlong 500.
This is sex work run with corporate precision inside shopping malls you've walked through. A hidden economy operating in parks, cinemas, and food courts across Metro Manila. Some clients include people of power, politicians, businessmen, and many more. The workers are often teenagers trying to afford school fees.
Yun nga, so sa 22 years, palagay ko nasa 20,000 yung dumang baklas talaga sa akin. Baka yung kapitbahay nyo sa probinsya naging customer ko. Alam ko pa yung pangalan at apelyido nila.
This is the Philippines' invisible marketplace. It's been running for decades, and almost no one talks about it. To understand how this economy works, you need to understand why it exists in the first place. The Philippines has an estimated 100,000 to 300,000 sex workers. Roughly 4% are male, meaning somewhere between 4,000 and 12,000 men are selling sex nationwide. The highest concentration is in Metro Manila, where poverty collides with a massive urban client base. Most callboys are between 16 and 25 years old. Many haven't finished high school, and nearly all of them started for the same reason: money. Not money for drugs or gambling, money for rice, for school fees, for a sick parent's medicine. The minimum wage in the Philippines hovers around 600 pesos a day, barely enough to survive in Manila. A single hour with a client can pay nearly double that. For a teenager with no diploma and no connections, the math is simple. Brutal, but simple. Alfred was one of those teenagers. He grew up poor in a private school, surrounded by classmates who wore branded clothes and Swatch watches. He didn't fit in.
Isang grupo, pag wala kang branded na damit, halimbawa yung mga Swatch na relos na meron yung mga kaklase ko, sabi ko, ba't wala akong ganun? Para bang hindi ka in. Matol ka na lang sa bakla, magkakapera ka.
So when an older friend told him that gay men would pay for his company, he listened. He was still in high school. That first transaction bought him the watch he wanted, also starting a 22-year career in the callboy field. Alfred treated being a callboy like a corporate job. He stationed himself at Isatan Rectoa, sprawling mall in Manila, where callboys had operated for decades. The system was almost elegant in its efficiency. Third floor, near the railings. You lean against the banister, scanning the crowd below. When you lock eyes with a potential client, usually a middle-aged bakla, you give a subtle nod, maybe a wink. Within 2 minutes, you exchange phone numbers. A text arrives. 800, short time? If you agree, you slip out together. The nearest motel is a 5-minute walk. 15 minutes after that first glance, you're in a room. Alfred worked the day shift, noon to 6 p.m., specifically to avoid the dangers of nighttime. He'd book clients back to back, 12 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6. At shift change, the day crew and night crew would cross paths at the mall and compare earnings. Alfred's code was 555, 3 500 peso clients. After hitting his quota, he'd simply catch a jeepney home. But not everyone approached this world so methodically. Luis wasn't looking for money. He was looking for connection.
Growing up po kasi, conservative yung household. I was having a crisis, finding validation and relationship sa mga lugar na hindi usually actually pinupuntahan ng mga kagaya ko.
A late bloomer from a conservative household, he watched his friends pair off into relationships while he remained alone. Desperate for validation, he turned to Grindr and then to cruising spots, the places most people don't know exist. There were the old cinemas in Manila, some dating back decades. Pitch black theaters where the films were irrelevant. Men would feel their way to seats in the dark. Luis describes the smell: mold, sweat, decay.
It's called the university kasi doon nagpapa-oral exam yung mga guys. 2 seats apart from me, live to the point na hihiga na sila sa sahig. Tapos they do it. Tapos we watch.
And then there were the forests. Open-air spaces along C5 and other highways where men gathered after midnight. No lights, no security, just strangers finding each other in the dark.
When he was doing it on me, may flashlight. Tapos, nakarinig na ako ng boses. I knew, police na yun. I knew. Tumakbo na kami.
These aren't isolated stories. They're infrastructure. For decades, Manila's callboy economy has operated through 3 main channels: malls, bars, and outdoor cruising spots. The malls around Recto and some large malls in the center of Metro Manila offered the most structured environment. Security guards generally looked the other way. Transactions happened via eye contact and text message, never overt solicitation. The gay bars in Sampaloc and Ermita operated more openly, with clients choosing entertainers through windows before heading to upstairs rooms. And the parks, cinemas, and forests served those who couldn't afford motels or simply craved the anonymity of darkness. But in the last decade, everything changed. Apps like Grindr and Romeo didn't just supplement the old system, they almost completely replaced it. Physical mall cruising has declined significantly since 2015. A callboy no longer needs to spend hours leaning on a railing, waiting to be noticed. He posts a shirtless photo, lists his rates in his bio, and waits for messages. The entire transaction, from first contact to hotel room, can happen in under an hour without ever stepping outside. The efficiency is remarkable, but it comes with costs. In the mall era, callboys operated in groups, barcadas, who looked out for each other, shared warnings about dangerous clients, and provided a sense of community. On the apps, you're alone. There's no one to notice if you don't come home. And the clients themselves have changed. The apps have made casual hookups so easy that demand has exploded. And with it, the spread of HIV. Health officials have directly linked the rise of dating apps to the Philippines' HIV surge. Among men who have sex with men, including callboys, The incidence rate is now 6.3 per 100 person years among repeat testers, one of the highest risk groups in the country. A 2024 study found that 33% of male sex workers tested positive for curable STIs. The ones that aren't curable are spreading faster.
Nakikipag-sex ako sa hindi ko kakilala. Hindi ko alam kung may sakit ba to o wala. Diba? Nandun yung point na pwede kong magkaroon ng AIDS.
But the danger isn't only diseases. Physical danger is also a risk that every callboy runs into. Alfred's career brought him into contact with powerful men, politicians, businessmen, generals. The money was good.
Totoo yung may nagbigay. Actually, may nagbigay sa akin ng 500,000. Nag-issue siya ng cheque. If I'm not mistaken, sa Makati Cinema Square branch yung 500,000 winidraw ko.
One client handed him a check for 500,000 pesos to start a business. He also accumulated 8 sugar mommies simultaneously, each paying monthly allowances of 20,000 to 70,000 pesos.
So, alam mo, pag mag-out ako sa Harrison Plaza ng alas 7, hindi ko malaman kung saan ako dadaang exit eh. Kasi kung 4 sila nag-aabang sa akin, isa lang ang pwede kong samahan, hindi naman pwede lahat, ano?
At one point, he couldn't figure out which mall exit to use because multiple women were waiting to pick him up at the same time. But the arrangement collapsed when one sugar mommy's husband discovered the affair.
As one time, tinawagan ako nung asawa niya, ikaw pala si Alfred, yung pumapatol sa misis ko. Sabi niya, ginawa mong ATM. Pag nakita kita, papapatay kita.
He dropped the client immediately. The threat was credible. In a world where discretion is everything, exposure can be fatal. And then there was Alfred's family. When his father died, 4 of his sugar mommies showed up to the funeral. His wife watched as these wealthy older women paid their respects and realized what her husband had been doing.
Tapos, there come a time na namatay si tatay. May nakipiglibing na matrona, mga 4. Tapos si Mrs., galit na galit si Mrs. Tingnan mo yung mga bisita natin dito sa patay si Erpat. Sabi niya, puro matrona, may mga bakla pa.
The confrontation was inevitable. The mental toll of Alfred's lifestyle is starting to catch up to him.
Nahiwalay ako kasi si Mrs. Sabi nga, saan ka naman nakakita? Nagtatrabaho ka na, Alfred. Nang mamatrona ka pa, nang babakla ka pa. Ayoko ng ganyan lalaki, maghiwalay tayo.
And just like that, Alfred and his wife separated. Luis carries different scars. He never made money from his encounters. He was searching for love in forests, in cinemas, in the beds of strangers who disappeared by morning.
Pumunta ka doon, ano yun? Parang lugar yun ng sad souls, emptiness. Nag-feel lang kami ng void. Purely, kasalanan lang talaga siya.
In his interview, he breaks down and begs his future partner never to watch the footage.
Future partner, huwag mo ito panoorin. Huwag mo ito panoorin. Nagmamakaawa ako kasi ito yung mga maling decisions ko na naggawa.
The callboy economy continues. NBI raids still happen. Malls get busted, apps get monitored, cybersex dens get shut down. Poverty hasn't disappeared, unemployment hasn't disappeared, and the demand from closeted clients, politicians, professionals, married men hasn't disappeared either.
Sino bang maka-afford pagbayad na ganyang kahalaga, 50,000, di ba? Yung mayayaman, sino bang mayayaman dito sa Pilipinas? Mga businessmen, tsaka yun nga, na-involved nga yung mga politician din.
The locations shift. The platforms evolve. The human needs stay the same. Today, Alfred says the mall-based callboy is a dying breed. Apps have taken over. The young men who once leaned on railings at Isatan now swipe through Grindr in their bedrooms. but the transaction is identical. Time for money, bodies for survival.
In the near future, wala nang callboy na mangyayari. Wala nang baksak na industry na yan. Ako sa inyo, magtrabaho na lang kayo kasi hindi pa pwede habang buhay na ganyan. Wala nangyari sa buhay ko. I regret that na nagsayang ako ng oras, nagsayang ako ng kita. Kung may nagbigay sa akin ng 500,000, nasayang lang yung nagbigay ng pera.
Luis says something different. He doesn't warn about the money or the danger. He warns about the emptiness. You go to those places looking for something, he says, but you leave with nothing, just a void. The Philippines' callboy economy isn't a secret. It's an open wound that nobody wants to examine. It persists because the systems that created it persist. Poverty that leaves teenagers with impossible choices. Stigma that keeps clients hidden. And a society that would rather look away than ask difficult questions. The men who survive this world carry it with them forever. Some, like Alfred, regret only the money they wasted. Others, like Luis, regret everything. And somewhere in Metro Manila tonight, a teenager is leaning on a railing, making eye contact with a stranger below. He's about to make a choice that will follow him for the rest of his life. The market is still open.
And this could be our little secret.